Hey, hold on a second, guys. Here, I'm trying to get this thing lined up. Um, so I'm going to go through another extra video here. It's not going to be entirely long. I'm trying to make it somewhat short for you guys regarding political parties. Okay, so I know it's been a while here regarding. Hold on, well, just spit my gum out. All right, so hey, it's a full go now. Listen. I am going to run through this pretty quickly. I'm putting these PowerPoint on Haiku for you guys to look at, and hopefully you can develop some knowledge here. All right. There's a test that's also on Haiku. I see you guys an email. It's called the Political Parties and Citizenship Test. Now, some of this stuff on the test is a review for you all. It's stuff I taught you before, but uh, it's important to know. That's why I put those questions on the test. So political parties, there's a definition right there on your screen. They serve to organize individuals. All right, it's basically to organize or group individuals that have a similar or common collective interest. All right, that's what political parties do. So now the political party system is on the test. You have a one-party system. A one-party system is essentially where there is one party and only one party for the country. All right, this happens in authoritarian nations. All right. Um, for instance, if you look at, because I'm a historian, I'm a history teacher, that's what I do. If you look at Germany during World War II and the years leading up right before World War II, there was basically one party. That was the Nazi Party in Germany. And this still exists today in some areas of the world, some countries, all right, particularly where there's a very regimented, authoritarian, or totalitarian government. All right, here's an example: the People's Republic of China, North Korea. There's another example for you. A two-party system. All right, there are two major political parties. This is what we have. Guess what? In the United States, you have Republicans, you have Democrats. Can you get on the screen there? There's two, one, two. All right, Republicans, Democrats in the United States, two-party system. Third party. So this a third party. We have third parties in the United States. It's not a three-party system, but there's a third party. Most of the time, a third party is not going to win. Um, But what they do serve to do is they can basically take votes away from one of those other parties, which is going to enable the other party to win. So if you have a guy, I'm trying to think of an example here for you. All right. Um, if you have a person who's running who supports Pinecrest High School, right? This is a wild example, okay? And you have a person who's running who supports Union Pines High School, okay? Just so I'm using the high schools as an idea. All right, a third party jumps in and they also support Pinecrest High School. Well, that's going to essentially split the vote of those Pinecrest supporters, and then it's going to give the election a lot of times to the Union Pines side. All right. I'm just saying this is an example, maybe to help you understand the effect a third party can have on an election. All right. So multi-party system. Now, this is where there are three or more. This is in Canada, the United Kingdom, or Great Britain. All right. Germany. Okay, Israel, they have 20 over there. Party believes. All right, this is on the test too. Okay, the platform is basically the statements. All right, each individual belief or each individual statement is a plank. A plank makes up the platform. All right. Role of political parties, so they organize groups. All right, at federal, state, local levels, national level. Okay. Now, what they do, the major thing, a big thing they do, is on the test as well, is they hold a national convention, all right, and they officially nominate their president and vice president at these conventions. So we have an election coming up this year, right? At the national convention, I believe, I'm trying to think where the Democratic one is. I know the Republican one, I believe, is in Charlotte. Democratic one, maybe I'm not sure, but you guys can look that up. And the only reason I know it's in Charlotte because it's in North Carolina, right? But they for the Republican side. So they're held once every 4 years. This is where they officially nominate. So I'm telling you, for most of the time, the person who is in office, if they're able to run again, remember that 22nd Amendment says presidents can only serve 2 terms. All right, but if they have a chance to run again, then they're not officially nominated yet. Like Donald Trump's not officially nominated by the Republicans, but it's pretty much a done deal. All right, he's pretty much going to be nominated for them. Now, you would say the same really throughout this primary season that we've had, the primary elections. Joe Biden for the Democrats, but it's not official yet. Okay, it doesn't become official till that national convention or the nominating convention. All right. Now, the primary elections, okay, this is on the test as well. You have primary elections, but another form where they each state picks their candidate. Some states use a caucus format, which is a little different. It's not where you go in and vote in an election. It's basically it's like almost like a town meeting, and you decide collectively who each little area or caucus is going to pick. All right, and they write the party's platform. All right, we're going to skip through this state and local. All right, this is important though. A precinct is a geographic divide between a county or an area. So when you look at when it comes to election night, they'll say we have so many precincts reporting, 50% precincts reporting. That means 50% of the areas that are voting are reporting the results. Okay. Again, I'm going to skip through this. All right, it's the ones I'm really talking about here, going over, are the ones that are on the test. All right, primary elections. I mentioned what that is. It is elections that are held to select the candidate who is going to run in the general election. So with the primaries, there's a few different ones. Okay, you have a closed primary where, for instance, when North Carolina voted here for the primary election, only Democrats could vote in the Democratic primary. All right, it's a closed primary. So if you're Republican, you can't vote in the Democratic primary, and vice versa. All right, that's what a closed primary is. An open primary is you don't have to declare. Some states have this. You don't have to declare what party you're from in order to vote in the primary election. So even if you're a Republican, you can vote in the Democratic primary. This is the functions of political parties. I've already went over this. Informed citizens. Okay, one thing, this isn't on the test, but it is important. I did have a question about this on the test, but I took it off. Is they can act as a watchdog. All right, they may lose the election, but they watch the winner and make sure they don't abuse their power. Now, some would say this was the role that the Democrats were fulfilling when they impeached Donald Trump. All right, they thought he was abusing the power, so boom, we're going to impeach him. That was their thought. It's a watchdog role. All right, qualifications, procedures for voting. All right, this is a question on the test. Okay, you have to be 18 years old. All right, you have to be registered. Obviously, you cannot be a felony, or if you have been convicted of a felony, your rights have to be restored. All right. So really, the question on the test, you got to be 18. All right. You don't have to be born in America to vote. Okay. You do need to be an American citizen. You don't have to be born in America. Remember, we went through that the very first unit, the process of naturalization. Now, this is another question, right? You should know this as well. The Electoral College. That's how the President of the United States, notice I'm doing it here, boom, boom, boom. All right, karate chopping, you guys. That's how the President of the United States is chosen, by the Electoral College, all right? It's not by, for instance, in the last election, There was the last presidential election was between Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton, more people voted for her. She won the overall vote count, but it goes to the Electoral College. Each state is assigned a certain number of votes. Well, as it played out, and this has happened before in 2000 as well, which y'all probably weren't alive then, but guess what? I was. All right. The person who wins the majority of the votes does not always win the election. It goes to the Electoral College. All right. Influencing the government. So this is kind of going to go through this. Now, there's a question about this one. An interest group is a group who share a point of view about an issue. They unite to promote their beliefs. So an interest group could be like maybe the NRA, okay? Someone who is very strongly supports the Second Amendment. Or you could have the NAACP, okay, which stands for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, all right, which means they're promoting civil rights, all right. These are interest groups. So there's a private interest group, NAACP, all right. A public interest group, benefit all or most of society. Lobbyists are people who they try to get laws passed to benefit them, all right, to benefit what they want. They lobby their congressmen or their senators or lawmakers, all right. They work for the interest groups. All right, there's a question on this too. How the media influences or can influence public opinion. So this has become big today, particularly with social media, all right? For instance, what is one way President Trump communicates with a lot of America? Through Twitter, okay? So with Twitter, now people used to know what the president was thinking, they would have to basically look at some of the things he was saying, like his press interviews. Now you can just look at his tweets, right? To know what he's saying and what's going on in his or her mind. And that's it. All right. So listen, if you have any questions or anything, please email me. Okay, we're trying to get through this and hopefully get back to school. You guys can get some personal one-on-one instruction with me, but not one-on-one, but class with me instruction. All right.